Okay, cool. I think that's just about everyone that's going to be showing up for this webinar, so I think we can go ahead and get started for reals this time. Kayla, why don't you introduce yourself in 30 seconds or less? Tell us about yourself.
Okay, my name is Kayla. I am right now suffering a cold, so I kind of sound a little congested, and for that I do apologize. And if you hear me like blow my nose or sniffle or anything, that is why. Um, I I don't know. I don't know how to
Where'd you grow
introduce
up?
myself. Oh, I grew up in Utah. I'm from Utah originally, and I lived here my whole life. I love it. I love hiking in the mountains, even though I don't do it too much because my husband doesn't like to hike. So it's hard to convince him to go hiking. And I don't know if you guys know too much about Utah news, but a lot of hikers go missing and they end up dead. So I don't go by myself.
That seems like as good a reason as any. Ken, you asked how long Kayla has been trading. We will talk about Kayla's trading in just a little bit. We're just getting to know Kayla really quickly before we get into trading stuff.
Yes.
Primarily because, I don't know, I think you guys should know who Kayla is, and I think you should know a little bit more about me, but mostly about Kayla because I'm pretty boring as far as all that stuff goes. So, Kayla, you got a degree from a school and stuff, like college type things, right? Yeah, what did
Yes.
you get a degree in?
Yes, I have a bachelor's degree in psychology, and my minor was in communications. So I have done a few things with my degrees. Um, I've done a, I've done ABA therapy. I did that for a little bit, and I've done residential stuff. But my career is in finance, which is a little strange. But I love finance and I love data and reports, so
And you,
that's always fun. And Douglas, I have known Wes for, oh geez, almost 6 years.
yeah, yeah, almost 6 years. I've actually known her husband for considerably longer than that, which is funny. Um, uh, yeah, I knew Curtis, which is her husband's name. I knew Curtis back in Wheeling, West Virginia, when he was serving as a missionary there. And so I knew him back in Wheeling, West Virginia, when me and my wife and daughter were living there. And we moved to Utah 5.5 years ago.
Yep.
And that's when we met Kayla, because Curtis was already back in Utah. And he said that he was engaged to be married, etc. And we moved to Utah and wanted to meet this woman that he was marrying because we wanted to make sure that she was cool enough. And the first time we met her, she did not seem cool enough, but that all changed after we got to know her for about 5 minutes. So it all worked out pretty good.
Thanks,
We've all
Wes.
been, no problem. Hey, you know what? When Sarah first met me, she thought I was the most boring person ever. So it's all good. So that's how we got to know Kayla through Curtis. And actually, we like Kayla considerably more than we like Curtis now. That's why I'm trading with Kayla and not trading with Curtis because yeah. Anyways, right now at this exact moment in time, not that it's going to change in the next few moments or anything, but at this exact moment in time, Kayla is pregnant. Like
Yes.
way pregnant, like huge pregnant.
Thanks, Wes.
When are you due, Kayla?
I am due on Sunday, so
She's due
like
on
three
Sunday.
days.
Yeah, it's funny that we just I don't know we when we set out to start this live trading room, I considered the fact that Kayla was pregnant and that it would likely lead to her having to take a short break from the live trading room after we got started. Yeah, like one episode or two
Yes.
before she gives birth, and then she'd have to take a week or two or three or whatever off. And then it would just be me doing the live trading room. But I wanted to get started anyways because I figure we could at least get in one, just like Mark says, we at least get in one good episode where you can get to know Kayla a little bit, and we'll talk about what kind of trading she does. And that way you'll have something to look forward to after she, pops the baby out. And we have no idea what the sex of the baby is because they didn't want to know. And I think that's just the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, but it's okay because we love Kayla and we kind of like Curtis. Okay.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah, this is
our first.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I have a tendency to talk too much, so I am going to ask Kayla a few more questions. That way we can hear some more from her, and then we'll get into some trading stuff. That way it's, we can say that we did a trading room in some way, shape, or form for today. But just so you know, the actual trading room, like where we're placing trades and we're planning trades and we're talking about the markets and everything, that's going to start up officially on Monday. So today is the getting to know you time. So for anyone here who does not actually want to get to know Kayla or me and doesn't want to know what we trade or how we trade, you are more than welcome to go about your business and go about your day or go about your night or go to sleep or, I don't know, give us the finger. Any of those is fine. But for right now, okay. So Kayla said that she got her degree wait, where did you go to school?
Weber State University.
Weber State University, which is in Ogden, Utah. And you majored in psychology?
Yes.
And then minored in communications?
Yes.
Yeah. So someone during the questions said that's just what we need on our team, and that is very true. I'm not going to put you on the spot and make you try and fake a reason why that's important, but yeah. Oh, Mark's going to stick around for the prize giveaway at the end.
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
Yes.
So, but Kayla, how do you feel like psychology and communications actually works into finance, or how do you think it's actually working into what you've been doing with trading and in trading with me in particular, but I don't know, I guess not me in particular. I want to know from your perspective how you got from psychology and communications to finance. Like how did you step from that into that? I mean, we all come from all walks of life, but let's hear your story, just how you got into finance. We'll go over trading stuff in just a little bit.
Okay. Well, let me tell you. First, I got into finance kind of by accident. I got a job at a local credit union here, and I was just going to do it to put me through school. That's what I initially planned on. But with me furthering my degree, I had the opportunity of doing this research project and doing a lot of data analysis and doing this whole big research project with my professor. And that's when I fell in love with research. I thought I hated it before because, numbers can be very confusing and charts are confusing, and trying to read and understand what is going on and if things pose significant value or if it's just null. It's a lot to swallow at the beginning, but my professor was he just had this love, and it was his love for research that got me into it. And what we were researching was a very interesting topic, but that's a story for another day. But I had the opportunity to present our research project up in Idaho. It's this conference called RMPA, which is the Rocky Mountain Psychology Association. And our research was so significant that they allowed us to present to professors rather than students, which is kind of unheard of. And the work that we did, it was able to get published. And so I kind of took my love for data and research and I furthered my career in finance. And that's kind of how I jumped it because data is everywhere, and especially in finance. You pull reports and you look at trends and you see what's going right and what's going wrong, and you just have to see how to, you have to pull all these charts and make decisions, very data-based decisions, and that's what I like. I like looking and being analytical when it comes to numbers. So that's how I kind of took my degree and went to finance. And I'm just going to be honest, communication, my minor in communication, that goes across the board. I feel like, personal opinion, everyone can do better at being a communicator. And especially if you are interacting with very analytical people, you have to know how they communicate. You have to know how they think. And it's interesting trying to work with various types of personalities, because at least the work that I deal with people who are very, very analytical. They need to see the data. They need to know all this stuff, and they have the driest sense of humor. And then I work with very creative people who, they make decisions based on a whim, and they're very intuitive, and they have this feeling. So I just feel like communications just helps bring that together, and also the aspect of decisions are being supported by data without stepping on people's toes. I hope that makes sense. I hope this is making sense to people.
I think it's making sense.
But that's how I got into finance, and that's where I'm at in my financial career. Like, because I took what I learned from school. I took the stats and the data reading, and I applied it to my financial career, and I love it. And I'm not saying that I don't like the whole psychology aspect and analyzing people and seeing what's wrong with them and whatnot. Technically, I'm not a doctor, so I can't do that. But I liked that too. But with psychology, I mainly had my emphasis in data and research. So that's how I moved from psychology to finance. So I promise there's a link there. It's not just I got a degree because I wanted a degree and just picked a career somewhere. Like, it kind of happened that way, but it was thought out. So.
Yeah. I think you'd be surprised, Kayla, how many people in this webinar right now would have a very similar story to yours about how they got into trading, and that's like how you got into trading was because I wanted a trading partner, and you were the most I don't know, obvious choice, I guess. But regardless, that's what you'll find with a lot of people in trading is they started their career somewhere, or they started their education in one place, but then they had a change of mind or a change of heart, I suppose, where you decided to start going in a different direction. My story about how I got started in trading is a little bit, okay, it's way different. I got started in trading because I knew Rob Booker when I was 15, actually when I was 14, and he hired me when I was 15, and I've been working for him ever since. So I didn't go to school, or at least I didn't get a degree, and etc. But I was working for him for 14 years, and we recently parted ways, and this is just all that I know. I don't really have any skills applicable to anything other than forex trading. So I've been trading for quite a while, and I've been working with traders for quite a while. So this just made sense. And Kayla, when I got to know Kayla, I started to realize a few things about her. First of all, she is better at Call of Duty than her husband is, which is really funny because he's been playing a long time, and she hadn't played Call of Duty until she met us. And then we were playing as, I don't know, double dating Call of Duty? No, that doesn't sound right. So we would sit on the couch, and it would basically just be me and Kayla killing everybody, and Curtis and my wife Sarah like coming up very short in the end. And me and Kayla would just sit there and make jokes, and not jokes at Curtis and Sarah's expense, but just jokes in general. We'd just be joking around and having a good time, and it was just really funny, and it was a lot of fun. And that's why I asked Kayla if she would mind learning trading and being a trading partner, because I primarily trade robots. That's just my thing. I like programming and trading robots. I don't do a whole lot of discretionary trading, but I wanted someone who would have a different perspective on trading, because as most of you know, and most of the people who watch this recording hopefully know, when you trade and you have your own single individual perspective on trading, it can work, but it has a tendency to get a little boring. So I wanted something more. I wanted it to be less boring. So me and Kayla started developing a trading system together. She had never even looked at a forex chart until we looked at it together, and so she started from scratch, and she's just kind of taken off. Just like she said, she likes charts, and she likes data, and she likes analytics, and man, I could sit her in front of a computer and she just sits there and back tests, whereas I back test for about 5 minutes, my eyes glaze over, and then I fall asleep in my chair. But she was sitting and backtesting still. Last night even, she was backtesting for a few hours while we were playing Mario Kart. And does she trade MF? I'm not sure.
Monday through Friday.
Monday through Friday. Oh, got it. Wow. See, that's another reason why. That's another reason why I need Kayla. I was thinking something completely inappropriate with does she trade MF, and so I am glad she was here to sort that one out. Douglas, she trades Monday through Thursday. She doesn't trade on Fridays.
No.
And we will be getting a glance into the world of Kayla's trading during the live trading webinars. And unfortunately, you know, she's pregnant and stuff, and she's gonna be having a baby soon. So we'll probably end up extending the free live trading room through I don't know, half or maybe even all of December, just so that you guys can get to know both of us together and sometimes separate. We're going to be, you know what? Why don't we just go ahead and jump into some of the trading stuff now? That makes sense. I think I've already kind of digressed into trading stuff anyways. So first, let's talk about how the trading room is going to be set up, and I'll take over that part, and then we'll talk to Kayla about her trading and what she does, and I'll fill in some of the gaps because I've been doing this for a little over 14 years. Kayla has been doing this for months, not years.
No, not years.
She's been doing this for months, and I have been, I was instrumental at first in helping her develop the trading system that she uses, and I offer input as we go along, and I also take discretionary trades. So we're not just going to be relying on Kayla by her lonesome or anything. We trade the New York session and the Asian session, and we will talk about what times those happen once we get into a little bit more of the trading stuff here in a few minutes. For right now, just know that, well, okay, you know what, we're going to talk about the schedule for the live trading room, because I want to try and stay on track as much as possible here. The schedule for the live trading room, and I already scheduled a few webinars for next week, minus Thursday and Friday, because in the United States, Thursday is Thanksgiving, and, well, not Thursday every week, just next Thursday, right? Isn't next Thursday Thanksgiving?
Yes, next Thursday is Thanksgiving.
Okay, cool. I just want to make sure I had that right. Okay, so in the United States, the fourth Thursday of November is Thanksgiving, which everyone probably knows that already. I don't know why I'm mentioning it, but we won't be trading on Thanksgiving or Black Friday. So next week's only going to be 3 sessions anyways. It's going to be Monday at, what is the at symbol? 8 a.m. New York time. Woo, time. So the New York session. So Monday at 8 a.m. New York time. Tuesday at 8 p.m. New York time. Now, why are we staggering times? Because not everyone is in the United States. Not everyone can be at a webinar at 8 a.m. But the way I'm figuring it, if you can't be at a webinar at 8 a.m., hopefully you can be there at 8 p.m. And we may shuffle the times. We may do different times, you know, as we go along. But for right now, this is the schedule. Wednesday at 8 a.m. New York time. Thursday, which not this coming Thursday, not next Thursday. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. I just want to throw that out there again. We are not trading next Thursday. But for the foreseeable future, Thursday at 8 p.m. New York time. Oh, I can't believe I put it. There we go. This is going to be the regular schedule for at least the next several weeks. We don't trade on Fridays because Fridays can get pretty hectic, but we do trade Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Monday is morning, Tuesday is evening, Wednesday is morning, Thursday is evening. This is going to be the schedule for the foreseeable future. Now, let me reiterate one more time. Next Thursday is Thanksgiving. No trading room. Okay, so next Thursday is the exception. We're not doing a live trading room next Thursday, which is, what, the 23rd? Is that what that is? Yeah, 23rd. Yes. Next Thursday. November 23rd. There. Okay. That is the schedule. Now we can get back to some less boring stuff, I suppose. Scheduling is kind of boring, but you'll see emails coming through in your inbox if you're registered for the webinar. You'll see notifications coming through 1 day before the webinar and then 1 hour before each webinar. You don't have to register for morning or afternoon sessions. They are all on the same webinar link. So no matter what, if you're registered, you'll get all of the reminders and just learn to ignore them, I suppose, if you're not going to a specific session. If you need help figuring out what time, like 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. New York time is your time, then you can Google it, because that's what I would do if you emailed me and asked. So if you emailed me and said, hey, what time is 8 a.m. New York time in Australia, then I would do the exact same thing that I'm telling you to do right now, which is go to Google and type in 8 a.m. New York time in, oh yeah, Sydney. Huh. That's cool. 8 a.m. Wednesday in New York time is 12 a.m. Thursday in Sydney, NSW, Australia. So just FYI, in case you don't know how to use Google, just go to Google and type in something like this, and you'll be able to figure it out pretty quickly, hopefully. Right, Kayla?
That's a little insulting, Wes, but yes. Implying
Yeah.
I don't know how to use Google. Just kidding.
Yeah, okay, yeah, that makes sense. See, there's another reason why someone who is good with communications is a good person to have on the team. I just sit here insulting people, and she tells me to shut up, and that's perfect. All right. Whereas her husband would probably just be sitting here making fun of people as well, saying, "Hey, did you see this person's name? That's pretty funny," and then I'd have to try and straighten that out and all kinds of stuff. Okay, so let's move on to trading. Kayla, without having to go into too much detail and still showing, I'm going to continue showing my screen for the moment because this is Kayla's very first webinar. The first time she's ever presented on a webinar, like first time ever. And I'm not going to just throw her under the bus and just assume she knows how to use GoToWebinar screen sharing. And I'm familiar enough with her system that I'll be able to show relatively well here. But Kayla, why don't you tell me a little bit about your trading system? And again, I'll fill in some of the gaps, like where some of the terminology may not be correct, or I don't know, may not be obvious. I'll fill in some of the gaps. That way, it'll make a little bit more sense, or make a lot less sense. We'll see. Sorry, Kayla, go ahead. You take
No,
over.
you're fine. So, trading, man, I love it and I hate it because you can't predict the future. But you can look at trends, which is what I kind of do. So, what is your screen doing? I don't know.
Sorry. I was. You said trending, and Rob always had a problem with me doing this too. You said trending, and so I zoomed out so we could see what everything looked like. But I'll just go back.
Okay, no, you can do that. That's fine.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You're good. So what I kind of do, just a very, very basic explanation, is looking at the candle. I hope you guys all know what candles are. I'm assuming you do, since you're in this trading room. I'm just going to assume that you guys know things. I hope that's okay. If not, just type it in the questions section, and I'll make Wes answer that because I'm busy talking. But I look at the candles and looking at the buy trades and sell trades, seeing which way the candles are going, and specifically I'll try to pick one candle out that will engulf about 3 to 4 candles.
So engulfing, and sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. Engulfing is a term that's used primarily in candlestick formations, like Steve Nyson, etc. But engulfing means that like a big candle like this one. Let me zoom in a little bit further. That way we can really see this, because my screen may be a little funky looking. So hopefully this looks okay. But engulfing means that this candle is actually so big that all the candles next to it are within. Oh, cool! Much better screen size. The candles next to it are actually inside of this candle. So let me show it by putting some lines on the chart really quick. So we've got this big candle right here. And if you look at the top and the bottom of this candle, you'll see that the next 3 candles are actually inside the open and close of this candle. And then we actually have 2 behind it as well. So engulfing means that it is larger than the candles next to it, and they have not actually crossed outside of the open and close lines for that candle. Hopefully that makes sense. It probably made more sense when Kayla said it because she didn't try to explain it like I do, and then I just end up screwing anything up. Sorry, go ahead and continue, Kayla.
That's fine, because that's probably how I would have explained it. So we aren't looking at the wicks. We're looking solely at the candles. I just want you guys to know that. So you're like, oh, the wicks are going out. That's fine. We don't care about the wicks. So what I do is I'm looking at this candle and I'm seeing how many candles it is engulfing. So I like for it to be 3 because, just 3 is a good number. Yeah, it is. Take my word for it. So,
And to be clear, we're taking Kayla's word for it because she's done a considerable amount of research and going through data to figure out what a good number is. So engulfing just 1 or 2 wasn't good enough.
no.
She didn't just pick 3 out of her hat. She there's a lot of time spent on this system and on how she does this. And the reason why this is not a robot yet, and I'm sorry for throwing this out in the middle of it, the reason why this isn't a robot is because there is a little bit of discernment, I suppose, involved in this system. Because sometimes a setup isn't as good as other times. And Kayla is better at spotting when the setups suck. I'm more of a hard numbers, like, put it into a robot and I'll do it type of a person, and Kayla is more of a discerning trader type of a person. So that's why it's 3. And we've got a couple of good questions here, and one of them is engulfing on which side? Does it matter which side it's engulfing on, Kayla?
I don't think it really does because because you never know, like I said, you don't know which way trades are going to go. They will either go south or they'll go really good for you. So you can't really like read into the future, if you know what I mean. But I will say from a data perspective, the reason why 3 is good is because they usually say whenever you have like 30% of something, and I kind of take these candles in like 10 percentages wise, then it will usually go well. So no, it doesn't really matter which side it's going on. Just kind of you want to look at the candle, the one that is doing the engulfing, and see which way that is going. So this big candle here that Wes's mouse is on, that is going positive, I guess.
Up. We'll say up.
Yes.
Yeah.
Up.
We can use up. That's an appropriate term because
Okay.
it is going up.
So with that going up and it engulfing at least the 2 candles ahead of it and the next 3 candles behind it, it would safe to assume that the market will also go up. But the best way safe to assume that is by looking down at the bottom. You guys will see these lovely green lines that look like a 4-year-old trying to draw grass here. Those are volume indicators. And with the big engulfing candle, if it has a large enough volume. So, can you put a line there, Wes, so
Yeah.
you can see across? Thank you.
Wait, see across. I'm so confused. Oh, got it.
It's called.
Okay. There we go.
Okay. Oh, weird. Okay. Sorry. I'm just.
No, this was. I'm guessing this was my fault because I picked a crappy candle.
Yeah, that's not a good candle, Wes.
Yeah, you know what? Yeah,
Because,
I
okay,
suck at this.
let me explain why this is not a good candle. Okay, what not to do. Just kidding. I totally am just kidding. But as you can see, this candle's volume, you can see is it green? My screen is a little funny and my eyes are terrible. But this line across, you will see that the candle next to it has a higher volume than the large engulfing candle. as Gary says, it's harem-y. Am I saying that right, Gary?
That is close enough.
All right, yeah. So the candle after it has a higher volume, which putting a buy on this candle would probably not be a good idea unless like you put your pips down really, really low.
Yeah.
So
So let me take over for just a moment, Kayla, and
yes.
explain some of the things that Kayla just said. Eventually, you'll learn how to speak Kayla, I suppose. Uh, Kayla is still in the process of learning terminology, and as most traders can understand, knowing every term in the book is not as important as knowing how to trade. So I'm going to fill in some gaps here for what Kayla was talking about.
Thank
So
you.
first of all, the candle we're looking at is this big white candle right here. It's a bullish candle. Bullish means it's going up. And we look at the volume, and we also look at which candles are contained within the open and close of this candle. So we see that there are two candles before it that it is engulfing. So it's so it's got these two little candles here inside, in a manner of speaking, inside of this candle right here, right? Okay, but we want three candles to be inside this candle. So since there's only one, two in front of it, we wait until the candle after it has formed. After this candle has formed, we check the volume of this one to see how it relates to the volume of this candle. So basically, let me turn on my little crosshairs here. That way we can really get a better understanding of what this is. We've got a small candle with small volume, another small candle with small volume, a candle that engulfed both of these candles. It's this big one right here. And it has high volume, but we want a third candle to be inside of this candle right here with smaller volume. When that happens, like when that candle occurs, whether it's before or after, it does not matter. It just has to be three. We just have to have three candles that are engulfed by this one, whether before or after, and the volume of all three of those candles has to be lower than the volume of this one. So this is not an appropriate setup. This would not be considered a setup because the volume of this candle right here, which would have been the third, it would have been the third candle to be engulfed by this big giant one, but the volume on this candle was higher. So it is not a valid setup. Yes, Lindley asked if that's the standard volume indicator in MetaTrader 4. Yes, it is. Yeah, because that's what we were, when we were working on putting this system together, we were using MetaTrader, and we switched over to using smarttrader.com, but they seem to be having some technical difficulties tonight, so we're not using them for this particular webinar. But you can see that the volumes here are matching up the same way that we just looked at them before. Okay, now Ken is asking, how do we know whether to buy or sell? And Kayla, you had talked about this briefly when you were talking about the up candle.
Mm-hmm.
But if you could cover that again, that way, and we'll put it into better terms because I think it was a little bit confusing because we kind of glossed over how to tell what type of trade we're looking at when this happens. So I'll let you take it again, Kayla.
All right. Sorry, guys. I suck at terminology. I'll get it down eventually. I kind of make up my own words, so if I do that and you're like, what the heck is she talking about? Yeah, Wes will. He'll interpret for me. But whether to buy or sell. So, like I said, the up candles, in this case, they're white. So whenever the market is going up, that is a good time to buy because it means it will go up. And when you see the market going down, the black candles, that means it's typically a good time to sell. So can you actually move your screen over to Oh, hold on. I'm zoomed in really big though. Can you move your screen over to the right, Wes?
Like this?
Uh, that's the left.
Oh,
The
okay.
other
So we
way.
want to move over to the right.
Yes. So, Ken, right here is a good example. So, right as you the very edge of your screen, there is a huge white up candle.
This one?
Yes.
Okay.
So if you were to buy at the very bottom of this up candle, and if you were to get all the way up to the top, and somehow you were a psychic and you knew the future, and you knew that it would immediately plummet, you could have sold.
Right.
Because, yeah, then there's a profit down there at the very bottom of the next three candles down. But that's just, I mean, that's like a horrible, horrible scenario. But there, right there in like that really quick glimpse, you can see the white candles go up, and they can go up significantly. Usually, I feel like I don't see really big, large, significant candles all the time.
Yeah, and
unless it's
this is partially my fault because I took over the screen. I'm not letting you show stuff. Okay, so.
But yes.
Yeah.
I hope that explains it for you.
Yeah, it actually probably didn't do a great job of explaining because this was actually a really bad setup. This one right here. The setup was proper because we had it engulfed actually a whole bunch of candles, like all of them across the screen over here, and the volume was very high. So it would have actually been at the close of this candle that we would have bought, and we would have stopped out pretty fast. And that would have been really, really, really terrible. So, yeah, I kind of set you up for that one. That's great.
Dan, are you asked? Oh, okay. I understand what he's asking now. Sorry, I misunderstood you, Ken. I thought you meant, like, how do you know, like, you know, what, like, when a candle goes up, does that mean that you want to buy? Or when a candle goes down, does that mean you want to sell? And I'm like, oh, yes. But, okay, so let me tell you, yeah, that was a terrible setup. I would not have placed that trade.
Yeah, and there's several reasons why I wouldn't have placed this trade. Primarily because this candle was huge, and that's why we're talking about having a certain level of discernment here. And right now we're looking at 2020 hindsight. We see this candle and we say this would have been a buy trade, but it would have been terrible, etc. So we wouldn't have taken that trade. We may have taken that trade. We may have stopped out, but honestly, there's several problems with that particular candle, and we're not going to go into how to trade the system specifically and some of the caveats that we've got for trading this system. Man, yeah, I really, 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 really screwed you up on this one, Kayla. I apologize for that. The system that we put together and that Kayla has been trading for a little while now is a trend trading system. What she's trying to do is go with the trend. So she's not trying to do counter trend trading like what I do. We're trying to do larger moves. And granted, a lot of the moves that we see with this are going to end up being slightly smaller moves and for smaller profit targets, but we're looking at a bigger picture and we're trying to do much larger. I actually tried to create an indicator for this, Kayla. That's where you see all these green arrows and red arrows and stuff. I tried to create an indicator for it tonight, and that way we could show people where some of these setups are happening, but I did a very bad job of it because it's just some of these setups are not actual setups, and it's a little bit disappointing in that way. But regardless, today's not about learning this system. Today is about getting to know us and getting to see a little bit about how Kayla came up with the system that she's got, and a little bit about how she trades it.
Yeah.
Kayla is a discretionary trader. She goes by rules, but also there is a certain level of discernment. What looks good, what does not look good, and I'm not good. I'm not very discerning. I'm not a very good discerning trader. I will look at these arrows and say, okay, time to sell. Okay, time to buy. Okay, time to sell. And so I would have taken losses. I would have taken the loss on this one, possibly. Actually, this one wasn't even. This one didn't even look good to me. But regardless, I would have taken some of the losses on some of these, whereas Kayla wouldn't have taken all of these trades. Not all of them.
No.
Kayla takes losses. She does actually
Yes.
have losing trades. I don't want you to think that she's 100%, and neither am I. But we work together so that we can increase the odds of us being able to make some money. And we're hoping that everyone will be able to make some money right alongside us. And that's why. So just for just for the sake of being completely open about all of this, we are making the live trading room free for the next month or so because you have no idea whether or not we actually make money. We do, but you have no idea whether or not we do. So at the very least, you show up or you watch the recordings and you see us lose a ton of money in the next month and you just laugh at us and then call it a day. And that would be just fine. Or you show up and you see that we actually make money together when we're trading together, and then it's just a thing of beauty. Now, another thing, no, Kayla will not be showing a live account at first. She has a live account, but we're not showing that in the webinar. Why are we not showing that in the webinar? Because she is not liable for any of this. Honestly, I'm the one who's sticking my neck out, and I'm the one who's taking all of the risk involved in this stuff. She will be placing trades on my account as we are moving along, and eventually I might be able to, well, not convince her, but she might start showing her live trading account toward the beginning of the year. But I want to make sure that this is going to work out really well before I actually start committing her to showing her live account, and before I start dragging her into the spotlight. Right now, she's just a voice on a webinar, and I want to make sure that it stays that way, just in case this doesn't work out very well in the end. There's always a chance that Kayla doesn't like being on a webinar. And being on a webinar with me is even harder because I'm a douche. But Kayla is actually a decent person, so we're going to try and stick with protecting her in some way, shape, or form by not making her show her live trading account and not putting that kind of pressure on her.
I might show my face next time, though.
Yeah, she might show her. Yeah, see, there you go. Unless she just given birth. If she just given birth, she will not be showing her face. I'm sorry, but
I'm looking extra swollen today. That's why I didn't want to show my face.
Yeah, me too. I'm looking extra swollen today as well, but that's for another time, I guess, to discuss. Now, again, this is Kayla's very, very first webinar ever. This session tonight, she's never done a webinar before, so you know, if it seems like this was very ill coordinated, or if it seems like we just completely derailed there at the end when I put up a signal that was not actually a signal, then that's completely my fault because I didn't actually warn her ahead of time. I was going to have her look for a nice setup. I just threw her under the bus.
I actually found a good setup, Wes.
You found a good setup?
Yes, that your indicators didn't pick up, so don't be offended.
Did you want to show your screen? Or are you looking at my screen?
I'm looking at your screen.
Oh, okay. In that case, where is it?
Move your
cursor.
So, yes. Well, I was debating if I wanted to go via candles or via volume. Go over to the left a little bit more. Oh, a little to the right. It's like right where it jumps up, the candles do.
Oh, right over here?
Yeah, so do you see that candle? It's
yeah.
small. That is a trade that I would have done because it's engulfing the 3 previous candles and the volume is higher than those 3 previous candles. And that candle is showing that it is a good buy trade.
Oh yeah. Okay. See, yeah, man, this indicator sucks. I'm gonna take this off the screen because it's just
So,
confusing us even more. I'm gonna zoom in really quick because this is a trade that we actually. Whoa, I lost my place. Now I gotta zoom back out. There we go.
yeah,
I'm gonna put a line on it that way we can actually see where it's at. This is a trade
okay.
that we actually did work with, and this is the beauty of this system. Is it's looking for larger moves. It's something that you can use for trend trading and then continue to see it move up. But right here at the bottom of the screen, and I don't know if I need to zoom in just a little bit further. Whoa, that's a big one. Okay,
There you go.
there. All right. So this candle right here, you can see that it actually is engulfing these, gosh, 5 previous candles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the volume of this candle is higher than the volume of all of those previous candles. So at the open of this candle right here, so when this candle closes and we see that the volume is higher and it's engulfing all these candles, etc., at the open of this candle we would have bought.
Hmm.
And we would have set a stop loss, an actual stop loss, because there are times when this trading system does not actually have an appropriate signal. Like, obviously, no system is 100%. So we usually try to put the stop loss down below one of the recent lows for a buy trade. And we want to give it enough room to breathe just a little bit, but not so much that that we take a huge loss, because with any trend trading system, you're going to find that there's a lot of, or there are potentially a lot of false starts. So it might start up a little bit, like in this case, it started up just a little bit, and then it came back down, and it just settled for a little while, and then it shot back up. And there are a lot of instances that are similar to that, where you may have thought back at this point that this could have been a trend trade up, but then it comes back down. So false starts, they happen with trend tradings. But in this particular case, and in most cases, I would say most cases, right, Kayla? You've done the research. You would know. Like, I'd say it's a most cases it works, and it's, I don't know, like
Yeah.
yeah we'll
Like more
we'll
than
get
50%. That's what we mean by most, right? Like 53%.
yeah
Just kidding. But yeah.
50.2% of the time. So we're getting a lot of questions about what time frame this works best on, and you know what? If you don't mind, Kayla, I'd actually like to explain why this works on any time frame, because it's a little bit
Go
on the
ahead.
on the technical side. So Kayla actually tested it on multiple time frames, and and found that it worked on most time frames.
Hmm.
And probably not 1 minute. I wouldn't trade 1 minute, because I wouldn't trade 1 minute if you gave me your money to trade, uh, but pretty much anything else. And now the reason for that is volume is pretty much a static indicator. Volume is increasing across all of the time frames, no matter what's going on, because its volume is tracking. I like to say how many trades are being placed, but it's not actually how many trades. It's how much is happening in that particular market. We'll go with that. Like, that's the easiest way to try and explain that. If you really want to know what the exact definition of volume is, you can look on Investopedia or something like that. But volume is going up no matter what's happening. Your candle can be going down, but the volume is still going up, because how many transactions, that's where I was looking for, transactions. How many and the size of transactions that are taking place in the Forex market on the euro US dollar. So how many transactions are taking place between the euro and the US dollar, and the size of those transactions, etc. So any one trader doesn't actually move the volume very much or at all, but very large firms that are placing I don't know, placing trades or making transactions or whatever else, they move the volume. So the volume is moving no matter what time frame you're looking at, because if you look at the 15-minute chart, that's actually, each of these candles represents 3 5-minute candles. And every 1 hour chart represents, like every candle on a 1 hour chart represents 4 15-minute candles. And it represents, and the 15-minute chart represents 3 5-minute candles. You know, it just, the volume is increasing across all of them at the same amount, at the same rate. So does it matter what time frame you trade? Not really. It's more important that you're trading on a time frame that you can watch and that you can pay attention to. Because I tried to build an indicator for this, and I still couldn't do it. Like you saw on this, like the indicator I built was trash. It just didn't work. And I will probably continue to try anyways because I like banging my head against the wall. But it's a discretionary system for a reason, and that's because some of it has some nuance, and that's where Kayla comes in. She's better at nuance. I'm better at nuisance. That's what I'm better at. Nuisance, not nuance. Kayla is better at nuance, and I'm probably using that word wrong too. That's the system, and Kayla focuses on the Euro-US dollar. She focuses almost exclusively on the Euro-US dollar. All of her research has been on the Euro-US dollar, and I can't really. I would think it would work across the board. I'm just getting a little bit more into this system myself. Kayla she's smarter than I am with this, so she specialized. I'm more of a, hey, let's bang our head against the wall and start trying to trade this on the pound yen, and she's more of the, look, we're making money, so stop trying to do stupid crap type of a person. So anyways. Okay, Kayla, do you have any last thoughts? Rob used to ask me that question all the time at the end of webinars. He'd say, do you have any thoughts, Wes? And I'd say, no, because thanks for putting me on the spot, you know.
Well,
but
what I want to say, I guess I do have some last thoughts. I don't know. Maybe, guys, I have pregnancy brain really bad today. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I'm literally have oatmeal head. But what I do want to say is, first of all, Ken, I'm very sorry that I misread your message as I'm talking about the importance of understanding communication and communicating well with others. And here I am misinterpreting his message. But to go back, that little trade right there, that is something that I would have done. That's a little bit of my trading. There is a small, tiny glimpse of what I do, like teeny tiny. Hopefully in the future, I can show you guys a little bit more, but I mean, we'll see. I do want to say I am very excited to at least get to know you guys. I know Wes is like, oh, I know most of these people, and here I am, and I have no idea who anybody is. And if I ever say your name wrong, I am apologizing right now. There's a reason why I'm not a teacher, because I'm terrible at pronouncing names. But I do want to say I am very excited for this. I'm very excited to start these webinars and hopefully getting to know you guys more and sharing more of my trading with you. Okay.
All right. We're going to go ahead and end this webinar because gosh, it's gone on for an hour and 10 minutes now. I feel like I just wasted everybody's evening. This webinar will be posted for you to, I don't know, make fun of later or watch later and try and learn from later. Whatever the case, I look forward to seeing each of you at least some of the time, and I hope you guys are looking forward to seeing us as well. There will be trade planning in some of these webinars, meaning not all of the trades will be taking place in the webinars. There will be a lot of trade planning where we say we're going to be taking a trade on this currency pair at this point, and on this time frame, etc., and going for this. So it just don't worry if you can't make it live. There's going to be plenty of other ways that you can participate and gain something from these webinars. In the meantime, have a nice rest of your evening or morning, wherever it is that you're at. And Kayla, thank you for being here, even though pregnancy brain and pregnancy swelling and et ceteras are not making your day so fantastic. But thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you, Wes. Thanks for having me, and thank you for everybody for being patient with me. I know it's a little hard because I've never done a webinar. I don't know how to work my computer, and
you know what? Some of the best traders I've known have not known how to use a computer at all. So no worries. All right. Goodbye for now, everybody, and have a nice evening and day or morning or whatever. Bye, Kayla.
Bye, Wes. Bye, everyone.